All right. Well, welcome back to another NFT Game Day on Friday. I'm pretty stoked. I just got off the line for one of the Pomelo pitch deck shows that I do over on Generate EOS channel, and my guest was pretty awesome. He was talking about this new magazine type of thing that they're going to put out into the community and try to, garner some interest into EOS, but not only interest, not a fluff piece, more of like an educational, treatise to like everything that's happened. And if you haven't figured it out, that was him over there. So definitely go check it out. We have Lars on the line from Facings, from EOS Zine, Immutable Realms, which he's got a Pomelo proposal live for Dark Pinup 1, and the upcoming Dark Pinup Act 2, which we're here to talk about today. Lots of stuff going on. If you don't know who Lars is, well, I definitely suggest that you hang out here because he's one of the probably most active artists. He's been in the space for a long time. Quite a big background in EOS.io. Been doing really cool things. And definitely somebody that you need to be here and hang out and watch. And, this would be a lot better if I wasn't just spinning my wheels, because really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find the intro music, but I can't find it. Where is it? Where'd my intro music go? Anyway, Lars, how are you? Found it.
I'm not the bubble. 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 I'm not the bubble.
Potentially one of the most professionally unprofessional hosts on the internet, right here.
So I'm gonna show you the high level nerd here I am, right?
Okay. That's awesome. I love it. Let me see if I can do this because I'm not quite sure. There we go.
This is my brother got into 3D printing, and he printed me the actual replica model of SN15. So I am certainly high level. I very much appreciate that intro. That was pretty sweet. So I think I'm gonna keep this sitting right here for the rest of the podcast.
I mean, we are doing Dark Pinup, so having an erect rocket sitting on your desk does kind of play into.
Yeah, you know what? On second thought, I'm gonna move that. now that it's, you know what? Let's just save the memes that are gonna come of that. Let's just move that now.
I love it.
That's one thing with Dark Pinup Act 1 was there were actually collectors that were making memes about Dark Pinup. So I really got to watch my step with things like phallic shaped rockets and stuff. You're right. Thank you.
Yeah, let's start there. I mean, I gave a little intro about EOS Zine. Definitely go check it out because I think it's cool. But I want to focus more on the Dark Pinup side of things. I was trying to come up with a descriptor for the channel, and I was looking through our cache of old shows, and I was trying to find the one where we talked about Dark Pinup 1, and I realized that we actually never did. It was a small segment in part of a facing show that we did maybe, or in part of a roundtable that we did, but we never actually had you on the channel to talk about that one exclusively.
Yeah.
So maybe you can do that now. Like, what is the whole concept of Dark Pinup? How did it come to you? And, you know, why was it so important to you to create this, even just from series 1?
So Dark Pinup actually by far, by like 15 years, supersedes any of my blockchain stuff. So this is actually this is my actual career. This was my life before blockchain. And so I learned well, actually, let me go back even a little further. Going what you kind of showed off with like the EOS project, the Pomelo grant, like all the comic book stuff. That was my dream job. I wanted to be a comic book illustrator, and it just didn't really shake out. There was no money in comics. It was really hard to get into the comic book industry. Even if you did get into it, it just is not a great industry to be in. So, you know, the ironic part was I was, as an illustrator and painter and everything, I was like, I had no respect for photography. I was like, this is a pseudo art for people that really don't know how to draw. And like, I remember being young. I remember going to like New York City to the Met with like my school and like blowing right past like Annie Leibovitz like exhibits and like Ansel Adams exhibits. I just went right past them. I went right to the illustration and the painting and stuff. And then in I guess it would have been 1999, I had to take a basic photography course with, you know, just to graduate. Really, just it was part of my, it was part of your requirements for like the degree I was in. And then I met this guy, Jim Gavanis, and I started seeing his stuff, and his stuff was like, you know, really truly like life-changing. Like he shot documentary work, so it was like stuff from like Haiti and the Deep South, and like just these captivating, incredible moments, like civil rights struggle type stuff. And I loved what he did, and that was the first time I was like, okay, I could see myself wanting to do something like this. The thing was, I was really not comfortable photographing people that did not want to be photographed. Jim is fine with that. He's this like kind of like free spirit, like bohemian dude. He's very unassuming. Like when he approaches you, I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't have that. When I think I approach somebody, it probably looks like I want to fight them or something, and people get really defensive and guarded. Jim is just like Shaggy from like Scooby-Doo, and it would be hard to be like intimidated by Jim. And I think because of that, people, you know, would lower their guard and let him in their house. And, you know, I just didn't have that trait. And I just didn't like the uncomfortableness. So I started leaning towards portrait photography. And I mean, you know, that, you know, eventually that led to Pretty Women, and which is not an unusual path for, you know, dude photographers, I guess. But you know, and I sucked at it for a long time. I really was not good. But during the time I was developing and I was learning my photography skills, I kept applying. You know, the only reference I had was Jim's work. And Jim uses this approach called diegetic lighting because he's a documentary photographer. And what that means is there's no extra lighting equipment. There's no flashes or strobes or studio lights or anything like that. You literally walk onto a set or to a location with a camera, and you take pictures with whatever lights in the room. So in like, you know, in my case, like this lamp, you know, this would be a light source. Like this would genuinely be how we would light someone's face. And you know, I just kept doing that.
You're not doing a very good job in preventing these memes. This is how we light someone's face on fire with this lamp.
Yeah, well, true. But and if you're going to get into lighting stuff on fire, candles actually eventually started becoming my go-to, which is one of the reasons, like, that's why all the sort of iconography and themes of Dark Pinup is candles. Cause like many times that's like the only thing I'm really using in a shot to light a model. And
I mean, I like it. I like it. It's got that double entendre of meaning, really, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and so yeah, I did that and everything, and started kind of like, I'd say chiseling out my own style. And then it was in 2013 that I went to LA for the first time, and I photographed this like prominent pinup model out there. And it was just one of those moments where it's like right place, right time. The pinup scene was direly overdue for some kind of refresh because everyone was shooting the same thing for 20 years. And it was just like seamless backdrops and bright colors and big fake smiles and all these things. And I was doing this thing I was taking the same models, same 1940s and 50s hair and makeup and wardrobe, but I was shooting something that was somber, but still very beautiful. A lot more serious, I would say. And that's kind of how the dark pinup genre was created. It's a subgenre of pinup. And I actually resented being called a pinup photographer for quite a while, like for many years. Like while I was shooting all these like prominent pinup models, like everybody kept saying, "Oh yeah, like Lars the pinup photographer," and I hated that. And then at some point, a friend of mine said, like, "Well, what you shoot is dark pinup," and that was how the term was coined. And I just kind of it became a genre, like it's like a hashtag on Instagram. If you just type in like dark pinup, you'll see like 40,000 photos, and like most of them are not mine. They're like other photographers and other models that are using that hashtag. So it's a genre, but because of things like the book and the NFT set, and it's also a brand. It's kind of my brand. So
I'm gonna come back to I'm gonna come back to that in a minute, but there's something that's really interesting here. How do you pay your models? I want to know.
They pay me.
Nice. Okay, fair enough. Because I was thinking, crypto does some really interesting things. And like we had NFT Blocks on the show not too long ago, and NFT Blocks has this new kind of thing that they can do where they can, I believe, they can allocate percents of sales to different individuals. I think like for something like photography, or like people posing for photographs, like actors and things like that. That's just a no-brainer to me. It makes a lot of sense, right? Like the photographer gets a certain percent, like the model gets a certain percent, like, and it's all doled out there from the beginning. Like, what's your take on that in terms of the potential when it comes to, like, I think for music it's huge as well, because it'd be that different parts of the band can get different pieces of the NFTs. But which is there value in that as a person coming from the real world of photography to the decentralized world of NFTs?
Yeah, so that's absolutely true. I'm exploring a lot of those things. Not to get off that subject, but my friend Adam Matheson Sword, the guy that I did a lot of the Garbage Pail Kid art with, he and I have been talking about that for a while. Like basically exactly what you described with NFT Blocks, like basically an equitable way that like things can be autonomously split up amongst parties and creatives. So we're working on something similar to that right now that we're exploring, especially, it gets into some legal stuff because you're basically issuing, moving securities around and things like that. But where we're at this moment, yes, what you said, the difference between like the real world and where we're at right now, that is something I'm looking into for like future collaborations. The entire thing with rights and who profits and everything with photography it is really, really sticky. I will say it always, at least traditionally, legally, has always leaned in favor of the photographer, because really what it comes down to is the person that pushes that button. That is who owns the photo.
It makes sense to me to do it that way, right?
Yeah, well, and it's tricky because it gets into things where, for example, you have like a photographer that maybe is like a no-name photographer, you never really, but just happened to be in the right place at the right time to take a photo of Marilyn Monroe in like 1951 or whatever, and that becomes this thing that's like that photo like 20 or 30 years from that moment is on like billboards in like Times Square. And it gets really sticky into rights, especially it gets into sticky situations when you're talking about likenesses, because you have this, model or person. And sometimes it's, it's even somebody that may not, like in Jim's case, may not want to even be photographed, because like if you're a public figure like Barack Obama or something, you can have your photograph taken and then, without, more or less without your consent, and then somebody could profit off it forever. So
better to be Lars the pinup photographer rather than Lars the paparazzi dude.
That's a multiverse life. I'm really glad I'm not
right.
But there's like yeah. So when I said earlier they pay me, so more or less over the years, that's traditionally before blockchain. That's kind of how it's always been. Is like, I'd shoot all this pinup stuff, and then eventually I would be booked, mostly in LA, New York, and stuff like that. Like, I would just say I'm coming to a certain city. The models, or and they're not all model. Like when I say they're not all models, what I mean is like there's this assumption that everyone I photograph is like these super famous, like kind of influencer type, models. That's really not true. I'd say 2/3 of them, the models that like the photos I've taken have been, first time, second time, models that just want to do it for fun, so basically, yeah, we have releases and things like that. But what I'm looking at going forward, now that this is all the infrastructure is finally being in place, like you mentioned with Nifty blocks, and I know Facings is working on the same sort of more or less the same sort of infrastructure, is like something where future collaborations can be something where, if profits or money is made from like NFT releases, it can be, basically split through smart contracts to, however many, and because like, here's the thing, you can say, well, the model should get a certain percentage and the photographer should get a certain percentage, but then it gets really kind of gray when you start getting into things like, well, what about the makeup artist? Should the makeup artist be cut in? How about the hairstylist? What about the wardrobe stylist? You know what I mean? So these are all, the complexities that, they're still tough right now to figure out. But, I'd say like probably in a year or two with some more development and more sophistication with how these contracts can be written, or generated. I even think of it sometimes as just a contract generator. You just basically need something that you plug in the amount of people that worked on a certain collaboration and then, fire it out to everybody, but that's honestly, here's one last thing I'll say on the ranting subject. If you're talking about like, especially like a wax based thing, is like a lot of these people, if you told them like, hey, there's an opportunity for a certain amount of like wax from this NFT drop, they wouldn't even care. Like because you'd have to get them into understanding and wrapping their head around a cryptocurrency to begin with. I've actually had situations like that where I wanted to like offer somebody, like a certain amount of like wax for like a, whatever, for a photo or something. And they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. Cause they're just not there yet. They're not at a point where it hasn't become so ubiquitous that, a 27-year-old friend of mine in like Las Vegas, like just isn't going to take the time to set up a wax cloud wallet yet. And I'm sure the day will come, and it probably won't be too far off, where they're like, hey, that thing you mentioned, let's do that, because it's going to, you'll hear about it in the news. Like you have NFTs and Beeple and all that shit.
I mean, even crypto people, they don't even know about wax.
So, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is it's very deep cuts,
Yeah. So, so I'm going back to like the first one. I remember like, because it was one of the earlier kind of original IPs, I guess, in a way on the space. Like it was quite early. Blockchain Heroes was there. But like a lot of the other stuff that was out was kind of already known IPs, I think, at the time. And I remember going to Atomic Hub and like not being able to look at what I wanted to buy because it was restricted.
Wait, a Dark Pinup was?
Yeah, I think so. Like you couldn't see it unless you couldn't see it certain ones, because like you could see some of them, but there were a few
really?
that like you couldn't actually see them because you had to like click a button that said that you were like of age or something, which I thought was really funny. Because now if you go to Wax and you look at like some of the NFTs that are out there, like there's a lot of like really racy anime ones out there, right? Like
I'm sure
some heavy, some heavy stuff. I had Ein, from Ein Art on our channel the other day, like an amazing illustrator. She's just like, but she's like very like Japanese animation, and she's done this series where, she's a child in an adult's body, but like, like there was one where she's, kind of burying her face in a pillow, wearing nothing but a cat or a devil suit. Let's just put it that way. So but back in that day, like you were the most racy thing I think that was out there, that was on there. And I remember you taking a little bit of flack for it. Not that much, but a little bit of flack for it, which I just thought was funny because like we are in North America, a lot of times I think we're very, what's the word I'm looking for? We're very conditioned to be not so revealing in those types of things, which is bizarre to me. Like if you go to Asia, if you go to Europe, like there's so much more in the art space that is normal that you can see that like that people don't get offended by, right? So
there's a lot of
yeah.
shame associated with it here,
right? And so I like that. Like I like what you were talking about in terms of like the artists. Like a lot of them, they want to be filmed. Like they want to be taken photos of. Like they might want to do it for themselves, for their boyfriend, like for their self-esteem, whatever. And it sold out, this first one. Like you guys sold out, and like you did a really good job. So now you're for release number 2. Morton Matt D. Are there redeemables in this act? I don't know what that means, but
well, we did book redemptions in the first one. You basically could get a book by opening a special memento.
I was making a joke.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. Those kind of redemptions. I see.
I just like taking the piss out of Morton Matt D. Sorry, but you released a book. Now the book, what were those pin-upable?
Yeah. So this is the book. This is Dark Pinup. Now this was long prior to the NFT release. This came out in 2018 through a publisher in Wisconsin called Working Class Publishing. So but it's there are some of the same photos in this that there were in Act 1 and Act 2. So but yes, we do actually have some redemptions coming up for this one, all joking aside. So I don't know if I should get right into that. I don't know. Maybe I should talk about it a little bit more. I do have
let's come back to that maybe after we go over the series. Like we can do that. So Dark Pinup Act 2, coming November 30th. You need you don't need to be whitelisted, right?
I'm already whitelisted.
No. I mean, to people, there's no whitelist to purchase.
Oh no,
like that, right?
No. I thought you meant on wax, since I was apparently the problem child.
No, I didn't mean it that way. I found it actually quite funny, and I think they fixed it. But yeah, I mean, it was only like 1 or 2 NFTs, and it just made me want to buy them more. Like I was kind of like I needed to buy the Christmas gift to see what was inside of it. Actually, it was pretty funny. But I don't remember exactly if I have that right or how it worked, but like I remember like I had to click a button to see it or I had to purchase it.
I didn't even know about that, but I know in the early phase. I mean, honestly, it was such a whirlwind. There was a lot of that kind of criticism that I probably missed myself, but yeah, it's there's I mean generally everybody really loves it, but I guess there were some people that were it was a little too racy for. But I mean, really though, I mean, there's zero nudity. There's zero nudity in any of my photos, at least in Act 1 and Act 2 on the NFT set. Now the book does have nudity in it, but
fair enough, yeah. And I saw some the other day, and I can't remember where, and I was trying to put them up on the cover image, but I couldn't find them for the life of me. I don't know where you posted them, but there was like some that were really good. There was one that you shot. I think it was a blonde in front of a mirror. And there was a couple other ones, but I like it. Like I like this one actually down here in the center. There's just something about this.
The one with the candles and it's like all gold in the middle.
Yeah, the model mark.
Yeah. So that's a model here in Minneapolis named Velveteen Suicide, and we did this like really cool ethereal. If you look up that same exact photo on Atomic Hub under the rarity tier that's called Candlelight, Baca, the one dude that does all of our VFX, a lot of our VFX, he did a candlelight of that one, and it's like one of the most beautiful photos in the whole set. I love that card. There are definitely favorites, and like you said, the ones that were like, you know, maybe more racy were like became favorites for a lot of people. There's another funny one that it was probably, it's funny because it's like not even at all close to anything like super provocative, other than the fact that the model, it's the name of the card is Stranger, and her butt is on this desk that I'm sitting at.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember talking about that.
That one's another one that's like super popular, and there's one called Vandal that ended up being a lot of people's favorites. There were definitely favorites.
Yeah, like I'm a pretty big fan. So these are all series 1. So is there anything different from series 2? Like, is it the same concept?
Yeah,
like,
so
even this one, actually, this is one of my favorites, to be honest. And
Alice.
even,
yeah, so you know who that is? That's Holly Madison. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she used to be on a TV show called The Girls Next Door. She used to be what's his name? Hugh Hefner's like one of his girlfriends. So but yeah, that's one of my favorite too. And that photo, the fact that one came to be was such a cool story. We were in Griffith Park, and you know, Holly's like, she's like a celebrity and everything, so you never know how celebrities are going to be with a shoot. Like sometimes they'll do sometimes they'll do it, and then, you know, but they're just not super enthusiastic or whatever, you know. It's just like, come on, let's get this done. And I had this idea. I saw this like tunnel kind of up on top of this area. You had to go through a lot of like forest and everything, and there was like this tunnel of ivy, and I had to like carry up like 2 or 3 picnic baskets filled with like all the fabric and the you know, the silverware and the grapes and the fruit and everything. And, you know, I was like amazed. Like she was down to crawl through a tiny little kind of dirty space and get into this. Yeah, so that's how that photo came to be. But yeah, I have, when I see some of these photos, I see them in 2 different ways. It's like one way is I can look at it as like just a photo, as if I didn't take it. And I'm like, yeah, that's a cool picture. But then I have this emotional connection to a lot of these, like that story about her being willing to do something that was like, you know, I don't know, it was pretty cool. It was a neat experience.
I like hearing that story because now I see the look on her face. It's like, what? How the hell you just made me came through this? Like,
yeah. Why? Like, yeah. Why did I agree to do this with this weirdo?
Right. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, but yeah, like so, you know, they're not, like you said, they're not all necessarily dark. And I'm talking about all forms of dark. Like obviously the genre, a lot of it has to do with the lighting, but like there are some bright ones in there as well too, right?
Right. But I mean, one thing is like you pretty much won't see a single smile in any photo. Oh, there's Stranger. I see a Stranger prismatic at the top left. Yep, there it is. That's my desk right there, right across, right there. Yeah, that's my desk. Yep.
Yeah, this one was good too. I liked it as well. So, and the flashes are really interesting, I think.
Yeah, that's Baka. Baka is and so actually, prismatalics are coming back in Act 2, and they're gonna look a little different. There's enough of a change to them that you'll be able to identify, like, oh, this is a prismatalic from Act 2, not Act 1. But yeah, we're so lucky to have Baka. He's just such a talent.
Okay, yeah. So what's different from the next one?
So some of the models are gonna be repeats. They're gonna be carried over from Act 1 to Act 2, and then there'll be some that are, it's almost like half and half, are gonna be new models that were not in the previous act. So that'll be cool. But honestly, besides that, our set designer, like we've really talked about it. And in some, like, many ways, it was like, hey, man, this thing sold out. It did fantastic. It's not broke. Let's not fix it. So a lot of the kind of set designs very similar. The supply is a little bit less than last time, which I think collectors will really like, because they're going to be more rare. But yeah, really a lot of it, there's going to be artist signatures again. There is a new, see the gold one right there on the top. There's a couple of gold ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was called the model mark. That's actually going to be replaced by this new effect called golden hour, So if you're familiar with photography, there's this thing photographers always talk about, which is the golden hour. And that's the like 40 minutes that you get where the sun's just about to peak behind the horizon. And you get this amazing kind of like lighting from the sun. And the golden hour effect is basically, it's done through a VFX approach, but it looks like that, like the sun's just going down and that light's cascading. They're still like kind of a gold color, so they look very similar to they look very similar to that, but it's a little bit of a different effect. We kind of decided that Model Mark does look a bit similar to a prismatallic, so we were wanting to do something that distinguished it a little bit from a prismatallic.
Okay.
And there will be candle lights again. Candle lights are sort of the most popular, and those are going to be back too.
Yeah, the candle lights are really cool. The way that let me go back here. The way that they kind of flicker. I think that's great.
That's again, that's all Baca's brilliance.
And I mean, I guess, you know, when you open these up, there are basically a mini GIF, right? Like a mini video.
It's like it's like a looping GIF. Yeah, I think they're GIFs. They might be MP4. They might be video files that loop. I'm not sure. I think they are actually MP4 because like there's a lot of quality issues that you can run into with GIFs. So I think they are MP4s. But man, if you look at especially that one, I mean, that dude is so high level. You can see the reflection of the candle in the glass of the mirror.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's really good. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And yeah, the flicker too. Yeah, it is really good. And there's something about that actual photo too that I really like. The fact that she's like, you know, holding the frame and her hands are coming around it. And then like you mentioned, the fact that there actually is glass. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yep. She's I don't know if you ever watched Ink Master. It was a TV show on Spike. It was like a tattoo. What do you call it? It was like reality TV about tattooing. But that's my friend Ryan that won that show. I think it was the first season she won it. So yeah, she's all crazy, like famous now. But we're still super close. And I think that shoot was in 2019 actually. That one with the frame. So it's actually it's pretty recent.
So, do you have any secret images that you want to share with us?
I do have secrets. Hang on. So, one of the things this is the first time we've revealed this. Nice. I've revealed this anywhere. I wanted to save it for today, but so one of the things we're doing as a companion to the NFT set is on day of launch, you're going to be able to go to the site, and next to the actual where you can buy your NFTs, you can either get the collector's box or you can get the packs. You're also going to be able to order physical cards.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah,
so we have like the book's cool, but like the physical cards, yeah.
So these are called Noir packs, and every card, there's 5 cards in each one. They're random. These are all the cards that were in Act 1, but they're done as black and white foils. So every card is a foil. And they're, oh my God, they're just super high quality cards. Like, I mean, I don't know if anyone, I know in Japan, a lot of people there are really, really like into stationery. These are 18 point cards, which is like a super heavy card stock. It's even heavier than like a Magic the Gathering card. So I picked these up a few days ago, and man, I'm just over the top with these. So these are for any like really hardcore collector of Dark Pinup. Like, this is absolutely going to be the coolest companion thing, and we do have that too. Like one of the neat things was because like the game in wax is like interesting. Like you know, there's always like got to be an angle for a project to really emerge. You know, because there's a lot of noise. You know. And like Dark Pinup was really cool because like people really did collect it based just on the merits of the aesthetics, and aesthetic sets like are, you know, not as popular as they were, like you said, like even like less than a year ago, the beginning of the year, everything was kind of an aesthetic set, but now it's like more about utility and like all these other things, utility and gamification. And we are going to have some, you know, remember we did an Ember Burn event last year at the end. You basically had a burn event where you could burn a bunch of stuff and get a new pack called the Ember Pack. We're gonna have something similar. We're not doing a burn event this year. We're actually doing some crafting, so you can craft into certain things. But yeah, these packs for people that are into the just the aesthetics of it, like these are gonna be such a cool collectible. And I should just note this was made possible by our friends at Troll and Toad. Troll and Toad is kind of they specialize in like physical cards and gaming and stuff like that, and they've just been super awesome partners in facilitating, getting to a point that we could actually have these available on launch day.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, so like normal baseball, hockey card size type of deal, right?
Yeah, exactly. Standard baseball kind of card size, and yeah. This is cool, man. This is like, as a photographer, this is kind of where you have yourself as like your career trajectory. Like all photographers want to do a book. That's just kind of the goal, is like you get to a point where you want to do a book, but never in a million years did I think I'd ever actually get cards out of it, like physical cards. It's really, really awesome.
Yeah, that's funny. Like my missus, she actually used to be a dancer, and like we found these cards in the closet that like she did a photo shoot when she was younger, and it's pretty hilarious, like how bad a poser she is. But like it's just like it totally changes the perspective when you see something on a card, or when you see yourself on a card, or when you actually have that physical card. Don't get me wrong, the NFTs are really cool. But I'm a big fan of melding those two mediums for sure. So
and there's not a lot of that. I mean, there's been who was it? Was it I always confuse it. Was it Blockchain Heroes, or there was an early project on
Blockchain Heroes released cards along with one of their releases.
Yeah, but there haven't been many. So like I kind of feel like we're in sacred space with these, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. It's awesome. This whole NFT journey has just been such a crazy ride. Like a lot of the photos that are in Act 1 and Act 2 were taken between 2013 and 2016. So, which feels like ages ago, like it feels like, I mean, especially because in the NFT space, this has all moved so fast that like the last year and a half to me, it just feels like it went by in the blink of an eye. So like, it's wild. It's been such a cool journey.
So Martin Matt D wanted to ask, is there, what are you calling it? Oh man, he's killing me. So let's go with the first question first. Can you pay with credit card? Is there a credit card?
Yeah, we're doing credit cards. So it's going to be wax and credit card sale.
So over on Atomic Hub, or is this over on facings.io?
So you'll be going to darkpinup.com.
Okay, great. And then his second question, which I'm just going to throw it out there because, he put it in the comments. Are these cards liquid proof? Martin, I mean, he likes to he likes to sell pickle juice, and I'm not shitting you. He actually does, so I can see why he's concerned about it.
About the pickle juice? Yeah, they're probably not. There's no IPS 67 rating on these.
That's a good question. If they're not, like, right, should you get sleeves for them? Fair enough. I mean, honestly, like, I don't even know if I would open them. Like, that's
I'm not. Bad. Yeah, so
that's how bad I am at it, right? Like,
the weirdest thing for me is like I actually have the weirdest experience out of all of this for me was how genuine I've been with buying my own shit. Not because I'm a narcissist, but just because I'm incredibly proud of how they turned out. So, I would buy my own packs, and I find myself, especially now, after it's sold out, like the packs are going on like Atomic for like $50 a piece, unopened Act 1 packs. And I can't like will myself to open them anymore.
Right.
Like, I just don't want to, which is such a weird experience. I've also seen, cards, and I had the same experience with GPK when I was like doing illustration for Garbage Pail Kids, where there were like cards that I myself designed or illustrated, or in this case with Dark Pinup photographed, that like I can't afford them and I want them. So I look at it and I see like a number 1 candlelight and I want it. And especially because I have the emotional attachment to like knowing when I shot it and what I was feeling when I shot it, when I had to eat that day and all those other things. But it's like $4,000 and it's like, well, shit.
I bit the bullet a couple months ago to get like a Jimmy NFT because we have some with the Uplift, and I'm glad I did. But I was like, it's way too much money. But I just wanted that miner, and now with the price of wax going up, I'm happy that I did because I probably never would have been able to get it otherwise, right?
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally.
It's a head trip, man. It's a total head trip.
And it's good that you can. I think if you're not buying into your own shit, then you probably, are looking at it from the wrong perspective, to be honest.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Yeah. And these things, like a lot of the team, the Facings team, and everything, like these are like really passion projects, not just this one, but like we did this Strange and Unusual a few weeks ago, and like man, that was just such a labor of love, Like there was definitely a point where we could have just stopped on that one and released it and it would have been fine, but we spent the extra, put an extra 2 weeks of like QA and just like little like nuances to make sure that like each rarity had its own unique back, and like little things where like some of the cards are vertical and some are horizontal. So you had to like line up, you had to make backings that matched, the orientation of the actual card and just things like that. So yeah, it's been really cool. It's such a fun space to work in as like a publisher, like a creator.
Yeah, I would imagine so too, right? Because like that idea that you can put like the digitalization into the NFTs, and then you can actually have it so that there's a set number of them with the rarities. Like it must just be great, right? Like before you could create a video or whatever, and you could put it out there in the world, but wasn't really any way to like profit off of it or sell it or stop it from ending up where out of your control, really. And so I like this. So yeah, we'll put up some gratitudes. What are you grateful for?
Man, I have to say right now, it's got to be community. And I think I told you on the last podcast about the coffee shop. But I just, that there's been a lot of things in my life, community-based things that were in flux during the pandemic, and it was not clear if they were going to survive. And, I'm just really happy to still have these things, not just, the coffee shop and everything, but just communities as far as like the wax community. I'm a huge, always have been, always will be a huge Hive kind of stakeholder. And I love having the Hive community and just places I can go, these like little corners of my life that I can go to and, count on a group of people to be there to, make me feel better or to, share something with them. And or when projects come out, like the Dark Pinup community. I mean, that was such a strong, powerful thing that happened so fast because we had no idea. And I mean, you're a wax OG yourself, Jimmy. So like, there was nothing really like that on wax, like a fine art photography set. I mean, there was some like, I'd seen a few other photos on wax, but like, no one had really done anything like that. And we had no idea how it was going to be received. We really thought we could release Act 1 and it would just be like a complete thud. And, right off the bat, like it was really clear that like people were into this. And, that's just, I don't know. That's a really great feeling. It's such a validating feeling to have like to put something out in the world and have people, respond to it that way.
Yeah. Right. Poundbaries.
Oh, OCD is really going to kick in now if you can't get medicine.
I'm horrible for OCD.
Would it work better if you put grateful for artists like Lars who push boundaries? Maybe that'll give you.
No.
Still won't work.
No, because it's the sign. It's the. People like Lars pushing.
artistic boundaries. Yeah.
I think I might have done that already.
You're taking me back to my days when I used to copy movies on DVD and I used to have to label them. And I used to make myself crazy about how the distance from the left and right of the, I got to a point where it was so bad. I used to have to like measure it out and draft it with pencil before I'd write on it with Sharpie.
There you go.
Nice. There you go.
It's not quite as good, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it drives me insane actually. Corey's great at this because like Corey doesn't have any worries about it. He's an artist in that sense. He just puts the things together that work, right? I don't. I get all like in my headspace. So a couple more questions. Oh, we're in Yoshi Drops, by the way, for anyone who is worried about it. I mean, I would love to see some of your dark pinups on the videos with music. Like, I think that would be awesome, right? Like some of these artistic things. And what you were saying about art, right? Like, I'm really glad that you pushed that boundary because, you know, even to this day, it's really hard for photographers, even to get verified on Atomic Hub, right? Like, and it's understandable why, right? Because I mean, you could pull a photo pretty much from anywhere and you could throw it up, and it's really difficult to prove who you are. So like, I think if you're a professional photographer at the level of Lars and you're putting that out there, but you know, we've heard people say, well, they just don't verify photographers. Well, not true. They verify people who can prove that that's their work, right? And it sucks for people like me who I do take photographs myself and I can't get verified. So, but like, you know, I'm not going to call in a favor for that because I want to go through the process just like everyone else. And I don't want the space to turn into a who's who and who do you know type of thing. Right. Like,
right.
But a couple more questions from the comments. Do they have NFTs you can or can't open? I mean, when you buy the NFTs, I guess they're going to come in packs. So you're going to have to rip the packs. So you don't necessarily have to open them. And I think that they'll live till the end of time without being opened. They have no expiry date on that or anything like that, right?
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely, yeah. I definitely have gotten to a point where I have some Dark Pinup packs from Act 1 that I won't be opening, and they will never open.
Fair enough. Yeah, I might have a package to myself. I didn't know this actually. I'm gonna have to ask him about it the next time he came on.
Yep. I did hear about that. Anders apparently got like a quick ban for something, but yeah, I didn't ask Anders about being on for Act 2. I don't know if I'd be welcome back.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't think that we're going to get banned. I think we'll be all right. We've showed more racy stuff than this, so it's all right. But yeah, with Microsoft going mainstream with Minecraft, do you feel any? No, not at all. I mean, like we're pretty confident in the fact that we're not doing anything wrong. Like, we're doing everything by the book in terms of, you know, what the service agreement allows for. I mean, we've had issues where people have broken the PG-13 rating on Minecraft, for an example, and like we've asked them to take that down or to remove that stuff. So we're pretty free, we're pretty open, but we're also pretty careful about that because, like, you know, we're not here to mess their stuff up. We're here to, you know, blow it up and utilize it, right? Let's see. When use Binance Smart Chain in the uplift? Well, I mean, potentially we could use any chain. We could build a world on any chain if there's enough interest, right? And so, like, we're not gonna release or build a world if there's only going to be 2 or 3 users, right? So why we're on Wax predominantly is because it makes sense. For transaction fees for NFTs, it makes sense. There's no, as Lars knows, we were talking about this on the last stream, there's no other blockchain out there that can compare when it comes to NFTs, technologically speaking, on Wax right now. Now, that's not to say that Binance isn't close, Solana isn't close, any of these other blockchains aren't close, but like, if there's enough interest and we have developers, we can do it. Minecraft is the base layer. We can potentially do it on any blockchain that offers smart contracts that allows for NFTs. So Yeah. Now they are going with engine, I mean, for NFT sales. Okay, so I probably should have read lower. Yeah, I mean, there when we were looking at Wax for the Minecraft metaverse, they were already, we knew about engine. And so we actually, I think Corey mentioned that he might have, talked to Engine about it. It just doesn't make sense. And I know that Engine's doing some things with Minecraft as well, but like that, in my mind, that's kind of like saying, well, I mean, there's one Minecraft server. There isn't. There's thousands, hundreds of thousands of Minecraft servers all across the space, right? And there's going to be hundreds of thousands of more that pop up, and a few of those are going to be on different blockchains. A few of those are going to be doing different things. And I think what we have with the gratitudes and the team that we've built and the community that we have, and there's certain things like if you've spent enough time in the uplift that you won't be able to find in any other Minecraft realm, and any other, if you spend enough time in Wax, you're not going to be able to find those in other blockchains as well. So I'm not so worried about that. Like we saw it with Wax, we saw it with like a lot of these NFT sales and things like this. Like one avatar project, one famous person likes it, now there's hundreds of thousands of them, right? Like the people are gonna like climb to the top and they're gonna succeed. And I think it'll be the same thing, right? Like, I mean, if this becomes successful enough for Lars, other people are going to start doing like, other types of photography, but will they ever be able to replicate it? Like, it's going to be hard to replicate things that are art, or things that are, music, or things that have originality, right? I could probably slap up an unverified picture of a model that I took, while walking home from the supermarket, and call it an NFT under the Jimmy D label. But would it have, candlelight flickering off of a glass in the background? Probably not, right? Like, so it's going to be all about, how you tailor it and how you do it. So sorry, that was my little 3 seconds of Jimmy to answer questions in the comments that, happens very occasionally. But yeah, Lars, is there anything you'd like to add? Because like I think we had a really interesting conversation just prior to this stream over on the Gener EOS channel, talking about your EOSign magazine, and you are the creative director of Facings as well. So like we did the Dark Pinup thing, but like how does this all tie into the other things that you're doing in the space? Maybe you'd like to give us a little bit of an update on that.
Well, there's a lot going on. There's going to be probably leading up through the end of this year into next year. I'm going to actually we're going to be spinning out the art department at Facings Entity. It's going to be called Mirror Pool, and kind of going through some structural stuff. But the plan with Facings was always to be a SaaS, like actually have like a fully operational turnkey SaaS that can launch NFT sets for anyone that can make it. Like basically someone can make an account and launch a set. And we are getting closer and closer to that goal. And once the idea for most of this time leading up until where we're at right now was a concierge service where, basically someone like Crypto Writer or Skulls could come to us, and basically we would kind of walk through and have an art department available to kind of bring some of these sets to like reality if they didn't have the ability to do the art themselves. But now that the SaaS is getting closer to being launched, there kind of needs to be a place for the art department to go. And so we're going to be working on this it's still going to be a really close relationship with Facings, but Mirror Pool is going to basically be handling, we're going to be working on some of our own sets, like in-house IPs, projects that like we've kind of wanted to do for a while, but couldn't get to because, because we had so much like client stuff in parallel. So I'm like thrilled. And like I said earlier, my friend Adam Matheson Sword, the guy that I worked on a lot of the top stuff with, like Garbage Pail Kids and Godzilla and everything, he's going to be coming with, and we're going to be kind of founding, creating this new entity called Mirror Pool.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see how that plays out, right? So for people who don't know, you guys used to be part of EOS Detroit, and then you branched off, and then you created this Facings thing, and you helped to launch. Well, you kind of were the concept artist for Crypto Finny, right?
Yeah.
And
I was actually wondering, how's my city doing?
yeah, it's actually really good. I mean, it's great. We can. Yeah, I'm not anywhere close to there, and I don't have teleporting capacities there. But yeah, it's pretty cool. The other thing that I wanted to shout out as well is facings in the world that we were in, just north of there. They actually have half a community plot that is being built on now. So I'm excited to see some art in the facings gallery up there when you guys launch. It'll be really really good. So
that'll be sweet.
Martin Matt D has another question too. Do you, or maybe the photographers that are working with you as well, do they use a light meter, or do you guys just eyeball it?
I use the light meter that's built into my my camera and through the viewfinder, and that is it. Light meters, to the best of my knowledge, are usually something that you would use in conjunction with like a strobe or a flash. And I don't use those. I use just diegetic lighting. So whatever light I have in the room is the light I use to make the photo. And sometimes that's really minimal. Sometimes it's like only like a small old antique lamp or a candle. So yeah, I just kind of meter it in camera and then take the picture. And one question, it sounds like it was his name, Matt.
Yeah, Martin.
Yeah.
Matt.
So he sounds like he may be a photographer himself. I get a question a lot how I am able to get low light photos without grain. And the secret to that is, honestly, I just stay very still. I make a very, very, very low shutter speed. And then I tell the model not to move. And then I have like sniper steadiness. And basically I just I take a deep breath, and I hold my breath, and I take a picture, and sometimes it's like half a second or a third of a second or whatever. And I usually shoot about 5 or 6 or 7 frames because I'm sure that like 5 of them are going to be blurry because the model will move a little, or I'll move a little. But usually out of about 7 frames, one of them is tack sharp just right. And that's how you get that super, super low light, high shadow, contrast kind of photo, while still not being super grainy. I never raise my ISO above 800.
I spent an hour and a half sitting on the shores of the Mekong River in Laos, trying to take a photo at night, and I got one. The rest of them are all blurry, and like I can catalog it as like weird shit, like spaceships landing on Mars and stuff. Like those blurred photos, there's some really interesting things that pop out of those too. Yeah. So definitely worth playing around with, even if you have to, like, you know, sit there and wait. Eventually you will get one. Do you use one of those like handheld devices? You don't use the thing.
I actually use the shutter. Yeah.
Oh Jesus, that's really steady hands then. Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's the fundamentals. Yep.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But
Adams, do you use full CGI Photoshop or blend in real props and items? Sorry, I'm gonna put this up because it's a bit confusing.
Does Lars use full CGI Photoshop or blend in real props and items? Yeah, so it's all in camera. So anything that you see in a photo is actually in the shot. I don't ever bring. Now I do edit. You know, I mean, I do typical editing where, you know, models typically want to see the most idealized version of themselves. So I don't go so crazy that it doesn't look like the same person. But you know, I'll liquefy things here and there, and I'll do some skin softening and everything. But yeah, anything that you see in the shot is actually in the photo.
Nice. Cool. I'm excited. 30th. So that's
Tuesday.
3 more days by my count as well. So that's pretty cool. What's the time on that? Is it 12?
I'm sorry, I don't actually know.
I don't know if it even says on here.
Yeah,
it doesn't probably say on here. So
it's probably like 10 or 12 or something like that. That's usually what we do.
Fair enough. Yeah, and definitely, you know, if you're a fan, go check it out. And I would also encourage you, if you're a fan of EOS, to check out that Pamela pitch deck that we did earlier. Because I think what Lars is doing there is try to, you know, put some EOS real life education out there into the space through art and comic books. is pretty cool. And, you know, it's pretty fun proposal to read, actually. You can see his art. But yeah, I agree with Mr. Adamus. They're very nice. And I'm a big fan of, there's nothing like that I've seen on wax for sure. And there's nothing like that I've really seen in the space. It's something really truly unique. And I think that these are going to be really go down in history as a very interesting way to, you know, utilize blockchain. Because when you put that, how do I say this? When you put the photos together with the elements that, you know, make them flash or make them flicker, it's just a really cool vibe that you get. And yeah, I'm definitely excited for Tuesday. So thank you all for joining us. And thank you, Lars. If you don't have anything else to shout out, I'll let you get back to your day, because I know you're quite a busy man over there.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I just, you know, thanks everybody for making Dark Pinup such a success for Act 1. And, you know, I mean, like, we hoped, of course, that it would sell out, but we had no idea what we were venturing into. We had hopes, but we really didn't have expectations. And, like, man, it was just such a crazy experience to see it received the way it was in the wax community. So, yeah, Act 2's out on Tuesday, and we're hoping it goes well. And, you know, a lot of the same collectors and stuff kind of, you know, support it the same way. But that's it. And thanks for having me on, Jimmy.
Yeah, well, and see you next time. Have a good weekend.